Next up is somebody who has on his website the fact that he can change your life in 10 minutes. I'm going to give him 5. Peter Green.
Welcome to Speaker's Burp. Have you heard? Apparently the PSA are in town. Oh, the PSA are in town. The PSA are in town. Hey! Yeah, but have you heard this? David Rhino Heiner was arrested for impersonating an endangered species. Have you seen the size? But I hope rhinos have got thick skins. Apparently, yes, they have. Did you also hear that Alan Stevens, he's had his Facebook page closed down by Facebook. Apparently, you have to have a picture that truly represents you, and he's put a new one on with him smiling. Did you hear? The Cumberland Hotel, yes, you weren't expecting that. The Cumberland Hotel, it was closed down because it was a complete blackout. Nobody could see anything. The SWAT team were called because someone said a Zeppelin had landed on Oxford Street. But it was Felix Schweiter was just checking in at reception. I checked with him. And Nigel Risner, Nigel Risner be in the room. Is he in? No, thank God for that. Nigel Risner, he was first ejected from the Cumberland Hotel, sent out. Apparently someone heard him saying it's like a zoo around here. But then he was arrested as well because he got his trunk out in public. Well, that's what he told them it was. I think that's enough of... Who was his name? No. It wasn't Harry Hill. This is the bit that worked a lot easier in rehearsal. Because I need to see you. And I can't see you without bins on. So what I really wanted to talk to you tonight was about getting old. Now, you all must realise, because this is the PSA, I guess, you all must realise that certain parts of your anatomy, well, they don't work so well as you get a bit older. It's been causing a few problems between me and my wife, and there's plenty here, Alan, I expect to of a certain age, that it doesn't work so well, but they do grow larger. I'm talking about ears, of course. I know where your minds were going. I'm talking about ears. Ears don't work so well as you get older. And it's causing a problem with my wife and I because I say one thing and she thinks I've said something else. And I say one thing and she thinks I've said something else. And it's getting so bad that she started roping in family members. The other day she called my son in and he was in the house and she said, "See, what did your father just say? What did he say? What did he say?" Because she needed to know. Terrible time. It's ears. They just grow and then they don't work properly. But I drew the line when she asked the Ocado delivery man. Sorry, it's the PSA. I drew the line when she asked the Asda delivery man. Anyway, talking of groceries, I went down my local store the other way. You know, I'm getting a bit grumpy as an old man because all sorts of things start happening to me. And I said to them, "I'd like to buy 5 pounds of potatoes." And he said to me, "We only sell kilos." I said, "OK, so I'll have 5 pounds of kilos then, please." Anyway, so I did need a new kettle. So I went next door and I said to them, "I'd like to buy a kettle." And they said, "Kenwood?" I said, "Well, yeah, please, where is he? Where is he?" But I did need a new watch. So I went to the jewellery store next door and I said, "I'd like to buy a watch." And he said, "Analog?" And I said, "No, I just want to buy a watch. Why do they always upsell like that?" Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I couldn't see that bit. Anyway, so one thing I did decide this year, I decided that we were going to have a cheap holiday. So I went into Millets and I said, "I'd like to buy a tent." And he said, "To camp." And I said, "Oh, I'd like to buy a tent and a caravan." And he said, "Camper?" I went, "Oh, for God's sake, make up your mind." But it was a nice ending that day because, you know, when human nature kicks in, it's nice, isn't it? So I went out and I went to the car where I'd parked the car and somebody had left me a lovely little, they complimented me on my driving. There's a nice little note on there in yellow that said, "Parking fine." Isn't that nice when people give you that kind of compliment about your driving? It's really lovely. Yeah, think about it. Anyway, talking about driving, my wife, well, she's okay at driving, but she's getting better. She's getting better. In fact, yesterday, she actually managed to reverse the car out of the garage in the morning, which was great. And the trouble was that she'd forgotten she reversed it in the night before. In fact, she was driving down the M4 the other day. I knew where she was going, and there was a news flash on the TV that said, somebody is driving down the M4 in the wrong direction. So I thought I'd better warn her, so I called her up on the hands-free. I said, darling, just look out, because somebody's driving down the M4 in the wrong direction. She said, tell me about it. It's not just one, it's all of them. But she was all right, it was all right. But she did phone me up one day, and she said, darling, there's water in the carburettor. I said, you don't even know what a carburettor is. You're a girl. Sorry, girls. And she said, no, seriously, there's water in the carburettor. I said, look, come on then. How do you know that? Where's the car? She said, it's in the river. No, she is a lovely lady, my wife. And she's actually part Ukrainian. That's through her inherent ancestry. And her English is pretty good. It's pretty good English. And she really encourages me. And she said, look, you've got to go and do this comedy night. You know, you're a pretty funny guy. So stand up and do the comedy. She said, I particularly love it when you do that self-depreciating humour. And I was at a loss to what she was talking about there. And then she said, no, darling, sorry. What I meant, I love it when you do that self-desiccating humour. And I was really cut up about that anyway. And then she said to me, she said, no, sorry, I got it wrong. What I mean is, I love it when you do that self-defecating humour. And that one really made me feel shh. I've been Peter Green, thank you very much.